Hello, welcome to my channel Conscious Growing. I'm Matthias, and today I want to talk a little bit about behaviors in recovery. And as you all know, when you're on the recovery path from unexplained pains, from anxiety, chronic symptoms, then you already know what my experiences are and what my standpoint is. And here I want to have a look on the behaviors on the recovery path. And so many coaches and TMS trainers out there, they have this slogan, go and live your life. And I fully agree with what they are saying. And of course, in the beginning, when you have been in a very severe state with many symptoms, and when you have been maybe even bedbound or housebound, then yeah, of course, you want to make small and consistent steps forward. But here's one of the things I find very important, because what happens is when you add activities in your life, and for most of us it usually starts with having a walk um, in the neighborhood, in the closer area, and then you, as a next step, you might go to the supermarket again, and then a few months later maybe you have a car ride, then you start to meet friends and family, and then you of course experience all kind of um, intensified symptoms, and this is part of it. And here I want to talk about the mistake I made. And so I also did all these things. I added activities, and I have to admit that for a quite long time I was still very scared of the symptoms themselves. So when I had these strong adrenaline rushes or pains in my body, which I understood further on that these pains come from the adrenaline surges in my body. But this is just a side note. So the main point is that whenever I took action and symptoms became stronger, I was still easily caught up in frustration, even anger about it. Why am I not able to grasp this? Why is it always striking back? Why do these symptoms get stronger, and so on? And so even with all the knowledge I had that this is expected, I was still kind of fighting with the symptoms and the sensations themselves. And I was afraid of them. And this took quite a while. But on the other hand, I was just continuing to see it as a process and allowing to let things happen, let these surges go through my system, um, reacting less, trying to keep a good mindset. But to be honest, I still stayed in this kind of comfort zone. So I did some stuff and I went back home, and this was still this uh, this safety island, and my comfort zone. And so even though I prolonged these moments where I was in um, situations with others, being outside, having a conversation, there was still this tendency, as long as the symptoms reached a certain degree of intensity, I had the, I still have my safety behaviors. And I always thought I just can stand it when I'm by myself and I can't be outside with someone. And so, in other words, outwardly it seemed like that I'm progressing, I'm doing more stuff. I started to have car rides again and even trips, short trips. But most of the time I still took care to keep this comfort zone in some kind of way. And at a certain point I discovered and saw for myself that it's very important uh, to even cross this barrier. And what do I mean by barrier? I mean the barrier that my symptoms were still deciding what to do and how far I'm going. And um, I was always kind of checking if this is possible to meet this friend now, and sometimes I was saying no, I don't have a good day, and let's do it another day. So there were still these kind of mechanisms, and this took me some months. And there was the idea in my head that when I'm calming down enough, when my system is more calm again, then I can do this stuff. But I just do these little things now. But with this kind of attitude, I was kind of hanging on a plateau. And so my world became bigger for sure. But yeah, it's like when you throw a stone into the water and then you have the first ring and the second and the fourth and the fifth. So I was kind of still in this area of the first ring and the second ring. And I was still avoiding and still had my coping mechanisms. But then at a certain point I saw that I'm taking myself wherever I am. So when I have symptoms at home, I have symptoms at home. And when I have symptoms outside, then I have symptoms outside. And here is the main point I want to share here is that we teach our brains not by words mainly. So what I mean is, let's say I give messages of safety all day long, but in the extreme case, I'm just inside the whole time. I'm sitting on my bed and saying I'm safe, and trying to calm myself, but in this extreme case, I don't leave the room. And so I will not be able to convince my brain, because the brain will think, okay, why is he saying this the whole time? This must be important for him. And he makes a threat out of it. So it seems to be a threat. So then I give him more symptoms, because he's not moving. He's kind of stuck. So it seems to be a difficult situation. So he's just doing little things, but he's kind of not very convinced of himself. So this is not a message of safety. So what I mean is, we have to come to the point where we want to go all the way. And all the way doesn't mean that I have to be hyperactive. It doesn't mean that I'm going out and running around like a chicken without a head just to be active. It's not this, but it's more to decide, what do I want to do? In other words, what would I do if I don't have the symptoms? What would I do if I wouldn't have anxiety? And this is the point. We have to come to a point in recovery where we make the decisions for our own sake, because we decide, I want to go for this walk, and I don't go for the walk because I should go for the walk because movement is good. This is not enough. You should really want it. And then when you're managing your day, then again you check, what do I want to do next? Where is some kind of value for me in doing the thing I'm planning to do? Because there are some things we have to do anyway. We have to eat, we have to buy stuff, and these are not the fun things usually, but also really to see, what do I really want, and how do I want to spend my time? With whom do I want to spend my time? What are my hobbies? What are the things I like? Oh, I like concerts, so I should go to a concert again, and to take the symptoms with me. And so the point is, and this is the, the, the hard part, but it's worse to do it, because the hard part is that when you decide to do your fun things again, things that you enjoy or that bring you joy, then when you do it, because you have been in this scared state for a while now, and you haven't convinced your brain yet, because you had these avoiding attitudes and avoiding mechanisms, it doesn't just go from one day to the other. So in other words, it takes weeks or even months of consistency, like doing these things. And what I'm saying here is to go out and feel horrible, to go out and feel pain, to go out and feel the anxiety, and to let it be there, and then don't try to ignore it. When you feel it, you can decide that these unpleasant sensations are there, and they will be there, because the more good things you do for yourself, the more the brain will try to protect you in form of sensations, in form of pains, in form of more symptoms. You will experience some more peaks in this. And then we easily make the conclusion, oh no, it's getting worse. I'm doing something wrong. And then you end up in despair. You think, my God, I was listening to all these people who came out on the other side, and I'm trying my best, but I get hit so hard that I'm kind of thrown back, and I'm not able to stay on track, because then I believe I'm doing something wrong. And when these stress chemicals and the reptilian brain is really active in this protective mode, and it will be in the protective mode when you start to do more things, and this is the point. So in other words, your actions and your reptilian brain, they will meet here, and they will get stronger, and you come from here with more intention to do what you do, and then you have this peak, and there's something. And again, don't see it as a fight. You want to stay strong in these times, you decide what you do. And we have to learn to let the symptoms be there, even when they get stronger. And it doesn't say anything about your recovery progress. Not at all. It's just the opposite, even if it sounds strange, but it's really the opposite, because what happens is when you have more symptoms, it's a sign of progress. And when you can see it this way, there's something in you that is able to acknowledge this in any moment, and then you know, symptoms intensify. Okay, I've done something wrong. I have done more. It's natural part of my recovery. And then you can build a new habit, and this new habit is to see that more symptoms equals progress. And when you establish these kind of attitudes and this kind of understanding in you, then you care less about the symptoms and the intensity. And believe me, I know how hard it can be. I remember moments where I did some kind of actions, things I wanted to do, I planned to do, and it seemed almost unbearable, but I did these things. And always people talking about pushing through. And pushing through, from my point of view, just means pushing through is like when you're physically pushing through, and when you're not aware of your symptoms, when you're trying to ignore them, you're trying to escape from them. Let's say you have strong physical symptoms and then you do a workout or you run like crazy just not to feel yourself or to run away from them. But when you find this attitude of, okay, I'm planning to do XYZ, and I'm just know that symptoms might be there, and I allow them to be there. I don't try to get rid of them. I let them be there, but my prefrontal cortex is deciding, I'm going for this walk, I meet this friend, I jump on this plane, I go to this trip. And even if I feel horrible, and nature of recovery is that there are these moments that we feel horrible. But when you're able to do what you wanted to do, what you really wanted to do, then it will be okay. So in other words, also you can ask yourself, am I just doing some kind of action to distract myself, or am I doing it because I really want to do it? Because what's not working is hanging on the phone for hours, trying to find solutions there. We have to take it aside and we have to move forward in life. We have to be strong. We have to leave this victim attitude. And this can be very subtle about this victim attitude. But if you still sense it within you, then there's still something to resolve. And it's a material we have. So when you still feel it and you recognize it, then you know where you can work on. But in general, and this is also the message, the brain doesn't understand through words, it only understands through behaviors. So What helped me a lot was just to go out sometimes. So the summer is over here now, we have autumn and temperatures go down. But the last weeks we had a beautiful summer here in Berlin and I spent lots of time outside. And one of the things I enjoyed more than ever in my life is just to meet someone, either someone I know or a stranger, and just to have a chat, just to have a talk, just sitting on a bench somewhere. And sometimes I felt, wow, I was sitting here for 2 hours and had a wonderful conversation. So I was just in the moment. And because we have to learn also to take away our attention, because when we are at home most of the time, then our focus is on our symptoms, on how we feel, and then we ruminate easily and we are keeping the circle alive. And to break the circle can be a nice walk, can be a nice conversation, but we need to do it consistently and we have to do it on the bad days also. Like when you have these days when you feel like really absolutely nothing is going, I'm so full of anxiety, do it on that days too, as best as you can. And do it in a slow and steady pace in the space. So you really want to find your own speed, because when you are rushing through your day, then the mind will start to race also. And this will keep this hyper alertness and this intensity. But if you're going slowly through your day and you're having some tasks and then you go to places where you haven't been for a while, and when you do this consistently, then you will see the progress. But you will go through very shitty moments and uncomfortable days. But the worst days are the days where we can learn most. Because when you feel so bad, when you are hanging on your bed, in your bed, under the blanket, and hoping that it will pass, you will not make progress. You will make progress when you have courage to stand up for yourself and take yourself and invite your anxiety and your pains, take it with you, and show your scared brain that the world is safe outside and that you can do these things and that you are even able to enjoy them. Because what happens then when you kick your little butt in the beginning, then further on you will see that life will come to you and you will meet people and you will have joyful moments out of nothing. But you have to do these steps and you have to take yourself and put yourself back to life where you want to be. So I can't say enough that deciding or your decision comes first. And because the decision that's what's directing you. I decide to go to the concert and I will do it no matter what. Because when symptoms come, then it decides, are you in the symptoms? Are you, oh no, I shouldn't have done it, I shouldn't be here. No, 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 no. Then you're caught up again. But if your decision being here is primary, if this is your primary decision, then the symptoms, they can be there. This is first fear. You can't do anything about it. They come. You don't have influence about it. But again, you have influence on how you react, and you have mainly influence on staying on course. I'm here because I want to be here, and I don't allow the symptoms to lead my life, make decisions for me. That's it. And check yourself if you are, when I come back to this image of the stone in the water and the rings, where are you right now, and where is the next ring? And where is the opportunity for you to move forward? And take to account this is going to be unpleasant at times. And then on the other hand, you will feel like the queen or king of the universe again, because you have done it, and it makes you stronger. And maybe you lie in your bed in the evening, and then you reflect the day, and then you think, wow, my God, I was so scared today, but I went to this meeting and I had horrible symptoms, but I did it. And this is in you right now, and this will bring you forward in recovery. And the more moments you collect, the more you will recover. And so what I really encourage you is not to stay too long on hold. A pause here and there, of course, yes, why not? A rest, yes, of course. But in general, we want to teach our brain that it's safe to do these things. And it understands mainly through behaviors, positive behaviors. So, yeah, this is it for today, I would say.